If you haven't heard about Anchor, let me tell you, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. Trust me, if I can do it on Anchor, anybody can do it on Anchor. Besides being easy, it's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit the podcast right from either your phone or your computer. And best of all, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. And you can hear it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and many, many other platforms. So it is really like one-stop shopping, everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So really, if you're into this and you want to do this, Anchor is the place to go. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
I think meditation is an important practice.
I didn't think it was very helpful.
I end up falling asleep.
Today on Spot On, we're talking about why you should meditate your way through college and beyond. Take a deep breath and let's ease into it. This is Spot On, a health and wellness podcast for college students, soon-to-be college students, or anyone that knows a college student. Spot On breaks through the latest health and wellness information hijacked from media headlines to provide you with accurate and usable information that is, well, spot on to meet your needs. I am your host, Dr. Joan Salge Blake. I am a nutrition professor at Boston University and the author of the college textbook called Nutrition in You, which is used in colleges across the United States and abroad. Today's Spot On episode is, meditation. Why you should meditate your way through college and beyond. Let's go back to the streets and see what students have to say.
I feel like meditation has become a really popular thing that people are doing.
I have noticed how less stressed I've been since I've started meditating.
I didn't think it was very helpful.
But I find it really hard to work meditation into my regular life.
I'm not sure if I was doing it correctly at the time.
I've been using the Calm app for a year and a half. It helps with my anxiety.
I use this app that you would do it for 10 minutes and it would guide you through it.
Every time I try to do meditation, I end up falling asleep.
I can't say I've really felt profound effects from doing it.
If I'm tired at all, I will just fall asleep.
I find myself 20 minutes later, and then I'm awake again.
Student life can be so stressful, and we know that, there are wonderful ways to release stress. We talked in another episode about exercising, but we also have so much research about meditation. So I wanted to invite some real people that meditate and experts on that to talk about that and how it can help students during their college years. And I just want to tell you, I wanted to set the mood for this episode on meditating your way through college and beyond. So I brought in candles in the podcast studio. No, they're not lit, so I'm not going to burn down the studio. They're battery operated, but I thought it would give some, feeling of comfort and calming, because goodness gracious knows I need calming. I've tried to meditate in the past, and I need it, but I can't do it, and I'm here to learn. So I have two guests today, which I'm really excited about. The first one is Dr. Ilana Licht, and she is a PhD and a licensed clinical psychologist, and she has a small private practice and also provides individual and group university-based type of psychotherapy and meditation. So welcome, Dr. Licht, to the program. We also
Thank you so much.
Great. We also have a student, Molly Pelletier. She is a student that meditates, and we're going to hear her story in a moment. Thank you for coming, Molly.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Great. I'm glad to have you. All right, so let's go to the good doctor here. So you give group psychotherapy and meditation, sessions on campus. Tell me a little about that. Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to help students, and it's a meditation workshop / group, and so people can come one it's a cycle of about 4 sessions, but people can come 1, 2, 3, 4. Some students have come the entire semester. And each time they come, they learn 2 to 3 different meditation strategies. So they learn about the benefits of meditation as well as specific ways in which to meditate.
See, that's great because this way you can lead them and help them to do it correctly. And this is a problem that I've had in trying to do this. I've tried to do it on my own, and you know something, I'm not a good teacher of this. And so, again, having a group and having other people around you, I bet is very, very bonding and supporting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we encourage them to practice in between the group sessions and to come back and report kind of how it's going. And it's not uncommon for us to get a variety of feedback about couldn't do it or I didn't have time to do it too. It's been extremely helpful to me.
So just like we were like the students on the street, the same range of where it really works or I can't do this. So you get in that in class, and that's great. And can students keep coming and re-enrolling?
Yeah, so they can show up one time, they could show up multiple times, they can show up for multiple cycles, and some people just find it helpful to have the designated time to be able to meditate and to have it be guided through.
Right. Have you seen that, like, over the last couple of years, that like a lot more students are looking for meditation?
It's one of the most popular groups on the campus.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. I would think a sports group would have been the most popular, but isn't that good for you? Good for you. That's called job security for you. Yeah. And so, Molly, you are a student and you meditate, and you're also a yoga instructor, aren't you?
Yes.
So tell me, when did you get involved in this?
So, it's been kind of a long road. I started doing yoga when I was 14.
Wow.
In high
14?
school. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I got into meditation a little bit later. I got certified to teach yoga while I was in high school. My senior year, and that was like a huge game changer. I just got like deeper into the practice, and then I found kind of like the pot of gold of yoga, I think, or really is meditation, and it's something that I've integrated into my life, and it's just kind of my way of setting the tone for the day, refocusing, and just being more present throughout my day. So now I teach meditation workshops.
Was there a reason why you went and meditated or did yoga? Like, is it just, were you stressed?
Yeah, so stress is definitely something that I was struggling with in high school, kind of just like family transition, stuff like that. It was something, my mat was a really awesome place for me to go to and just find some peace and have this practice to come back to. And then teaching was also another way to really like share my passion for meditation and yoga.
Well, that's really astute of you at age 14, my dear, to go and
Thank you.
and really, venture out and do this and reach out, because it appears like you might have had some stress in your life. And you said, something, I'm going to go a healthy way to release that stress. And, this podcast is not only for college students, but for those who are soon to be college students. So I think it's really great for them to hear is in high school, which is what their age is, that you went out and you did this, and it helped you through high school, and it helped you, I guess, through college?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a practice I've continued, and I always tell like busy college students, like just starting small, like even 5 minutes a day can be so helpful for reducing stress and just like finding more focus throughout the day and connecting to what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and stuff like that. For college students especially, I think it's super important.
That's great. I'm looking at her, and you can't see her, but I can see her, and she looks very calm, okay? I just want to tell you that. All right. So let's go back to the good doctor here. What are some of the benefits of meditation, especially for college students or young people?
So the main benefits are around improving emotional and physical well-being. It helps reduce stress, anxiety. It actually helps to decrease the stress hormones in the body and decrease symptoms of depression to allow for a more neutral and positive outlook. It can help improve self-awareness, concentration, sleep, pain even, and it can decrease blood pressure and help improve our ability to make decisions based on our own kind of internal intuition or internal wisdom.
Wow. That's a lot of good benefits for one little practice. That's unbelievable. So stress is, a lot of students have a lot of stress on college, and it can weigh heavy. It can weigh heavy in their backpack. It's mental heavy.
Right, and I think one of the other benefits of meditation is that it can help improve academic performance, which
Yes.
is something that's important to college students or high school students.
So tell me a little bit about the stress. You said something about hormones. That is interesting. So when people are stressed, hormones are released, and that can make them more nervous, more anxious, increase their blood pressure. So it has like this calming effect to calm down those stressor hormones?
Yeah, because when we're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, it's usually about something from the past or the future. And meditation really guides us to kind of focus on the present moment without judgment. And so it really helps kind of lower our whole body's kind of nervous energy.
Sure. And Molly, do you find that when you first started, you said it was a stressful event that you did this, and did you like physically feel that this calmed you down?
Yeah, absolutely. It's totally great for decreasing cortisol, and I noticed in my own life just a definite decrease in stress and just like this sense of well-being, like being connected to my day and my connections that I was having. And yeah, so it's definitely helped me through a difficult time. I'm super grateful to have found the practice.
So cortisol is one of those hormones that when it goes up, it's that fight or flight where it can get you all wound up. So it helps you reduce the level of cortisol in your body. Wow, that's really great. So you said, the good doctor here, is that it helps with focusing. So that's really interesting. So tell me how it does that, because that's like if students could focus more in class, they would probably learn more.
Right. So with meditation, it's the practice of over and over again bringing your attention back to the present moment. And so meditation is really the act of just that. And it takes a lot of practice before you're able to kind of really reap the benefits of it. It's one of those, it's like if you were going to go run a marathon, you wouldn't start by running the marathon. You would build up over time to being able to do the marathon. And the true benefits of meditation come with a lot of practice. And like Molly was saying, they say like 10 minutes a day for about 3 months or 90 days. At the end of that time, you can kind of significantly see a difference. But it doesn't mean that you have to do it that way if that's feeling too overwhelming or too much of a time commitment. Like you were saying, Molly, like doing it even 2 minutes a day can be helpful.
It could be beneficial for you. You had said that it helps with sleep. And we all know that when you don't get enough sleep, I mean, your next day you're full of anxiety, and it's really hard for you to focus and do your schoolwork and listen in class. So how does it help you with sleep?
Well, it can be really helpful with sleep, particularly if people decide to practice the meditation before falling asleep. So a lot of people say that one of their difficulties with sleep is that their mind is racing before it's time to go to bed because they've been busy all day long, and they finally slow down to go to bed, and then their mind keeps going. And so meditation is about practicing slowing down kind of your mind, noticing the thoughts that are coming up and bringing your attention back onto your breath or whatever kind of thing is the point of your meditation. So it could be like a safe place in your mind or a pretty nature scene or something that you're focusing on.
Great. So Molly, how long should you meditate for?
It's really up to the individual. I mean, some people have a difficult time sitting. I think that can be a huge factor when you're beginning. So doing a couple stretches to begin with is always like helpful to find a more comfortable seat. And then once you find that seat, starting with even 2, 3, 4 minutes and working your way up is a good way to start. I've heard like the goal could be 20 minutes a day. But it's up to the individual, because some people can find that zone like very quick, and other people it might take a couple more minutes.
That's funny that you said 2-3 minutes is going to be fine, because I remember I tried doing this several times. I'm telling you, this is my true confessions here. I tried doing this several times, and I remember meditating, and I said, oh gosh, that's 4 minutes. And I look at my watch, it was not even 45 seconds. I mean, like, because I can't sit still. And so what can you do to help sit still? Should you listen to music, or what should you do?
Right. So I think having a point of focus that is changing can be really helpful, because if you're just kind of sitting there and like focusing on the breath, that doesn't always work for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So having a point of focus that changes, whether you're listening to a guided meditation, apps like Calm, Headspace, Insight Timer is my favorite. Those apps have guided meditations that can help you kind of find a point of focus. But it could be your breath up and down the spine. It could be kind of a sense of light moving through the nostrils or up and down the spine. So I think having like a point of focus that's moving can help people stay still.
Right. That's good, because I have to remember that. And having something to focus on would be good. My battery candle, maybe, that you can take it and focus on. Because when I was doing this, what I ended up doing was, during the meditation, was focusing on everything I had to do after the meditation. It was like a check-off list. Like, I have to go food shop, and I have to do. I'm like, this is not working. Okay, you have to focus and stay in the moment. And I obviously wasn't focused, so I'm going to have to try the candle. Doctor, where can you meditate? Where do you? Tell me.
So one of the great things about meditation is you can pretty much do it anywhere, anytime. So you can do it while you're sitting on the train or the bus. You can do it while you're walking from A to B or to class. And so that was one of the things I was thinking about, is that meditation doesn't just have to take place sitting down in a seat. You can do a walking meditation, and there are other meditations that actually are meant to help like improve energy, and so they sort of can help wake you up, as opposed to kind of helping to calm, or like we were talking about, to help with sleep. But there are other ones that kind of help to kind of wake you up more. And the walking meditation is really helpful because it, like Molly, you were saying, it's actually about paying attention to a movement. And so it's about noticing those different sensations that are happening in your feet. And so that can be a point of focus as well that can be helpful, because it's changing a little bit with each step that somebody is taking.
So that actually might be a good one for people that are very busy, that can't sit, to do sort of like a walking one. You know, when I was doing some research on this is really funny, but I had all my research about meditation, trying to read up on it, and I was on a plane going to Kentucky to visit my nephew, and it's a small plane, right? Yeah, it's a little, and so because of that, you can really get, turbulence, and you can really feel it. And I remember reading something, it was just like 20 minutes before this happened, I read something that to focus, one person on meditation said, put an X on a piece of paper and just focus on it. So here comes the turbulence. The X goes on the table, right? And I'm telling you, this was bad turbulence, right? And so what happened was the piece of paper, I'm not kidding you, shifted, and I looked at the X, and it started to look like a cross, and I started praying. I'm like, okay, I need to get out of here. And, that must have been a message. So I was like bargaining with God, please let me off this. And I promise.
Form of meditation.
Good. I promise I'll meditate. Good. Prayer can be a form. Okay, I need to do this. This would be perfect. So how can prayer be a form of meditation?
Well, when somebody's praying, they're generally focused on the prayer and sort of connecting to a higher power or God or whatever that they're praying to. But I think it can be a form of meditation as well.
Oh, that's very, very interesting. So people could do that. On campus, there's often chapels or places of religious worship where the students could go in a quiet space and say prayers, whatever prayer they want to say, and to focus and to calm down. Where else, Molly? I mean, you're a college student, but so where else on college campus can you meditate?
Anywhere where you feel comfortable, I think, is the key. As long as you feel comfortable, then you can meditate there. I would say maybe like you said, a chapel would be a great place, like a corner in the library. Or my suggestion is to make, if you have the space in your college dorm, is to just make kind of like a little corner that has your seat. So it could be like a meditation bolster, maybe a candle, some intention cards or a journal, and just have that be like your space to go and have your practice. Because if you make the space, you'll see it in your room to be like, okay, yeah, that's what I do first thing when I wake up. That's sort of my routine is I wake up, brush my teeth, and I just go do my quick meditation, and it sets the intention for the day, and it becomes your routine. And when you make it a habit, then it's kind of like a non-negotiable, and it can really make an impact.
That's interesting that you said you have a specified space. In other words, that's what that space is for, and you don't use that for anything else. So that becomes almost, when you see it, it must give like a calming feeling to you.
Yeah, it's just kind of like my little sacred space. And it doesn't have to be big. I mean, I have a small apartment, and I did it when I was in a college dorm. I had a really small room.
Yes, a tiny.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like the place that you go and you have your practice, and that you can come back to and find some quiet time, space for yourself.
That's great. That's great. Just clarification here. I love the idea of, doing it in a dorm room. I love the idea of a candle, but please, can you do the battery operated candles in the dorm room? We don't want issues. Okay, so let's make sure we do that. That's great. So, in your group meditation, is there music you have in the background, or?
We've tried with music, but we also do it without music, and that's okay too. Sometimes the music can be more distracting for the guided meditation. Sometimes it's helpful for people. It's really just a personal preference.
Right, because I often hear that soft music or water running. Like if you have like a waterfall, you hear like water falling or the river. And I even know, like if I have the time to go to the ocean in the summer, that whole water going back and forth, I find to be very, very soothing. So, and Molly, do you want to?
Yeah, definitely. So my sort of issue lately is that really loud construction has been happening every day, just like right outside. I can make eye contact with the construction guys.
Okay, so the stress level has gone up in your life.
A little
okay,
bit, right when I wake up.
Yep.
And so meditation, it doesn't have to be completely quiet for sure, because I mean, most of us don't get that complete silence, especially if you live in a city. But my thing as of late has been using earplugs when I meditate. And that's kind of nice because you can hear the flow of your own breath a little bit more intensely. So that's a tip also if you have a loud environment.
Right. Breathing is a big thing here, right, when in meditation. So how do you breathe to calm yourself down, Doctor?
I mean, the biggest way is to kind of almost do reverse breathing than I think most of us typically do. And the goal of it is really to increase the amount of oxygen that's going into your body. And so it's called belly breathing, and basically it's like the reverse of what you kind of do when you're not thinking about your breath. Is that how you would explain it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like breathing, when people say take a deep breath, like as if you were kind of having an anxiety attack or something like that, it's really take a lower breath, like you're trying to breathe lower into the lower portion of your lungs and expand the belly. And there's all sorts of physiological things happening there, like
so you're getting a really good deep breath.
Yeah.
And I would think that's slowing you down, because you have to think about that, and that breath is taking more time.
Yeah, well, you're using the full portion of the lungs, and like when you breathe lower in the body, you're stimulating the cauda-equine complex, so in stimulating the parasympathetic nerve response, the rest and digest response. So there's so many things happening in your body. Like she said, all those benefits. Physiologically, really, it's a powerful practice.
Wow.
Well, and I think when we're feeling stressed, we tend to just breathe in our chests as opposed to kind of further down in our bodies.
Right. Because that's the anxiety. You're just breathing heavily. And I know. It's terrible. Anxiety and stress is just terrible. And I can remember when I was in graduate school, I mean, you were so tired because you're not sleeping, because you're overworked, and you got so many projects going on, that I can remember being so stressed that if someone would have said to me, do you want an apple or a banana? I mean, that decision would have overwhelmed me. Like either one of them would have been a bad choice, right? Really, hello, it's fruit. But it really gets to the point where you get yourself really, really worked up about that. Now, you have a group. But if you don't have a group, or a student doesn't have a group to go to on campus, can they go to like YouTube and see how to do it? What do you think, Molly?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of resources out there on meditation. I think it's growing more and more. My best suggestion are just the apps. I mean, it's right on your phone. You can use it whenever you want. And it's something I think you can definitely start like with or without a group. And yeah, there's tons of resources.
Right. I did a little bit of homework to find some apps, and you had mentioned some in the beginning of this episode here. And I'm telling you, I guess the number one app is called Calm. I think you might have mentioned this. Is the number one app for health and fitness. It's unbelievable. And when I went to look at it, I actually downloaded it on my smartphone. But I looked at it. It has over 285,000 ratings, not downloads, ratings.
Wow.
So you can imagine how many downloads it must have. So you said you've used Calm?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, there's different genres of meditation almost. You can choose ones for focus, ones for gratitude, different areas. So it's really accessible.
Great. And you had said something about you liked Insight Timer. Okay, so tell us about that app.
Yeah, that's the one I use. So I like it because it has just like a plain timer, and it has bells that you can customize if you want it to signal like every 10 minutes or every 5 minutes. But you can choose however long you want the timer to go off. And that way you just have kind of a destination. You're not just sitting there waiting till you get bored or can't do it anymore. But it also has some great guided meditations that I use.
Okay, and so can you pick the guided? I mean, there must be a variety of them?
Yeah, there's tons of them. There's tons from really also well-known meditation teachers. That's one of my favorites. And then also the Oprah and Deepak Chopra meditations.
Tell me
great.
about this. Oprah's meditating. Tell me more.
Yeah, so they do these 21-day sort of journey meditations. And you can download the app. Those do cost money. Insight Timer is free. But
that's good. Insight Time is free. For college students, that's good.
Yeah, so I would definitely go for that one because Calm and Headspace, I believe you have to pay for Headspace.
Okay.
Calm, you definitely have to pay for. But in the Oprah and Deepak ones also are a fee. But those are great if you just kind of want like a little bit more in-depth 21-day meditation.
Right. This must be one of Oprah's favorite things that she hands out is her meditations, huh? To get given to everybody.
Yes.
The other app that gets really helpful that's also free is called Koru. It's Koru. And it was actually developed at Duke University for college students. So it has also timers that it can either be like a silent meditation with a timer, or they can be guided meditations, and they kind of walk you through a series of however many weeks to practice, and it's all very nicely laid out and user friendly.
Wow, so if it was that's interesting. So if it was designed for college students, are they talking to them how stressful students can be during college, or are they using that?
I mean, I think it's more just about kind of these types of meditations that college students tend to find maybe easier to do. And one of the things I really like about that app in particular is at the end of it, you can kind of do like a brief check-in about how your meditation practice went. And there's also a section to acknowledge a couple of points of gratitude, which I think is something that you mentioned, Molly, which I think is so important. And one of the things that we do when we're stressed is we focus on the stress. And so we tend to forget about the things that are going well in our life or we're feeling grateful for. And so spending a moment or two to just acknowledge one or two things that you feel grateful for that day is really important.
That's very, very interesting because you're right. All we focus on is things we've done wrong or are not going our way. And when you really step back, there's so much more gratitude, more good things going on in your life. And this is just a hiccup, this whatever's stressing you out, and it can be fixed. And so to remind yourself of all the good things that are coming in your life, I like that a lot.
And it gives yourself more balance of sort of what's going on in your life in a day-to-day, moment-to-moment way.
Sure. Now, you said something about Headspace.
Mm-hmm.
What is Headspace?
Headspace is an app that kind of eases your way into meditation. I haven't used it a ton because I think it's kind of like the idea of starting small, and it kind of guides you up into a practice. That's my belief. But it's a really helpful tool if you're starting out.
Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to all these apps on the Spot On Facebook page, as well as links to our guests here, so that your listeners can go to the website. Go to the Facebook page and find these apps. They really sound terrific, and it sounds like there's a wide variety of them, so that you can find one that fits your needs. So, to summarize, any guiding moments or anything else you want to say about meditation, Doctor?
I guess to summarize, that meditation can be really helpful both emotionally and physically. You can do it anywhere, anytime, for any amount of time that will be beneficial to you.
Okay. And with that said, because any amount of time, so Molly has agreed to give us a short, like under 45 seconds, relaxation meditation. So here we go. We're in the studio, and the listeners are just walking around or doing their laundry or whatever. And so why don't you walk us through that, Molly, so we can relax us?
So find a comfortable seat with your feet firmly on the ground. Rest your hands on your thighs, maybe palms down. Slight tuck of the chin towards the chest, just so the back of the neck feels long. And just softly close the eyes, relax the shoulders, relax the face. And start to notice the rhythm of your breath in this moment. Checking in with your body and your mind. And just focusing on the subtle flow of the breath in and out through the nose. Breathing deep into the low belly and then up into the chest. And let the breath fall down. Beginning that belly breath, breathing with the lower portion of the lungs. Expanding the belly on the inhale, letting the breath rise up into the chest, and then falling back down.
I think I'm falling asleep. Okay, but I have to end this. But speaking about gratitude, I want to thank you both for coming. It's a good doctor here, and Molly, because I think that we're onto something here with meditation. Obviously, if you have all these apps and people are doing it, they're finding a really healthy way to deal with anxiety or stress. And obviously, you can't start too early, because here you are at 14 doing this, and how it has helped you through, your high school, your college, and beyond. So I would love college students to think about this, if they haven't started meditation, to get some support about this, because it's something you can use now in college and use it beyond. So thank you again, both, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Spot On. I am your host, Dr. Joan Salge Blake. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Joan Salge Blake. Please subscribe to Spot On through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you find your podcasts. Also, visit our Facebook page to join the conversation and tell us what you'd like to hear in future episodes. And oh, by the way, could you ask 5 of your friends or family members to download Spot On and subscribe to it? Do I ask a lot from you?